You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a successful motivational speaker and trusted life coach, Nancy knows how you can live the life you want regardless of the challenges you face. Although she's legally blind, Nancy's mission is to inspire others to overcome obstacles and live life full out. Call in at 800-333-0001 to ask Nancy for advice on topics such as relationships, finances, business, health, and more. Just call 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari and so excited to be here with you today. In fact, we're going to be talking about change. We all have changes that occur in our life, but sometimes those changes are easier to digest than other times. And, how do we embrace change in a positive way? How do we let go sometimes of things that we want to hold near and dear to our heart, but the change forces us to move with those times? We're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to be taking your calls. Again, that number to call in is 800-333-0001, 800-333-0001. Now, you want to stay tuned. In our next segment, we're going to be accompanied by our inspirational guest for today, Lydia Joyner. And her story is amazing. She was in the foster system. She had 35 homes, 18 social workers. She even had to change her name 4 times. I mean, it is an extraordinary story that is not only inspiring, but really opens our eyes to what the foster system is like as a child. So stay tuned for that. Also, we'd love to hear from you. If you're inspired by today's show or have questions or need resources, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Also, if you have a story that you think would be empowering to our audience, and we'd love to hear that story, contact us at connect@livingfullout.com, and we'd love to chat with you there. And if you want to hear today's show again or any of our previous episodes, go to livingfullout.com, click on the radio show tab. You'll see the Spreaker button, and you'll be able to catch our show live or listen to any of our past episodes. So back to our show today, which is change. I know for myself, being legally blind, I've had to go through a ton of changes. I remember when I started losing my vision, it was gradual. It's just happened over maybe a 20-year period. But with that change, my eyesight kind of going away on me, I had to get resourceful. I had to turn to people in my life for advice, for resources. And so whatever change you're going through, you may have to leverage time, people, resources. And when I say leverage, I mean put yourself out there. Don't feel like you have to carry the burden of the world on your shoulders as you navigate through changes in your life. Now, I'm getting word that we do have a caller on the line, and we'd like to check in with someone from our community here. So welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can I help you today?
So I'm a college student, and I'm very content in pursuing my degree and just enjoying being young and focused on my career path. And I haven't really been in a serious relationship, and I'm okay with that. But my friends and family seem concerned and bring it up at times. So my question is, how do I let people know that I'm happy being single, and is it normal that I'm not worried about it?
I think it's a great question and very valid, right? Because you're focused on your career. Makes perfect sense. The thing is I think you have to ask your friends or your family member, next time they ask you, ask them, why is it so important to them? Why? Oh, well, we like you to be with someone. We don't want to see you be alone. Okay, well, what's wrong with being alone? Kind of put it back on them, right? So here you are taking their statements and you're putting that on your shoulders as a burden. It's like they're saying these statements, and it's making you feel like you're forcing yourself to have to change when you're happy with your life. So you want to turn it around on them and ask them, why is it so important to you that I'm with somebody? Why are you asking me? And put it back on them and let them answer those questions. And what's going to happen is it's going to get diminished on their side. Oh, well, it doesn't mean anything to me. I was just asking, right? Over time, they will stop asking because they'll realize that they're way more invested in you dating someone than you are. So sometimes in life, we kind of have to put out the fire, right? Just put it out right away. And the way that you do that is you turn it around on the other person, politely, lovingly, but you just ask them, why is that question? Why is you dating someone so important to them? And what they're going to find out is it's really not. Maybe they're just asking you kind of for conversation value. And then you say, you know what, but hey, I really appreciate you asking because I can tell that you care about me and you just want me to be happy. But let me tell you what makes me happy. Oh my gosh, I love my classes right now. Or, oh my gosh, I have this internship I love. Or, my work is going so well. And when they start to see what really makes you happy, they're going to stop asking about the things that annoy you.
Mm-hmm.
You see
Great.
that?
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So go out there, be single, love it. I mean, it's such a great time. I mean, I remember my single days. I loved them. And when I'm in a relationship, I love that too. But right now, just have a great time. Live full out.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for calling in.
You too, Nancy.
So there we go. Somebody who is at kind of a cliff there. People are saying, jump, go date. But she's like, no, I'm happy, right? We don't need to jump. We don't need to change our life if we're happy. Don't let people force you. It's okay to kind of shut them down and say, I'm happy, and this is why. We're going to go back to the phone lines now and talk to another caller. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So share with us what's going on today.
Okay, well, I was calling because I am a full-time nursing student, and I work at 2 jobs to, make enough money to be able to take care of what I have to take care of while going to school. But I'm having a really hard time with one of the jobs that I work at because I always get stressed in to go in because I always have to pick up everybody's slack. And it's getting to the point where it's starting to affect my school, and I wanted to know, what do you think I should do about that?
That's a great question. First of all, I applaud you what you do for a living. I have 2 friends that are nurses. They love it, and it's such important work. So I applaud you for that. Secondly, have you turned to your supervisor or a higher up about these extra demands or things being put on your shoulders?
Yeah, for sure. That would probably work.
Well, so have you had that conversation with them or not yet?
I mean, not yet. I've kind of tried. We're just, moving around with staff a lot lately, and it's been hard to kind of deal with the issues we're having at the work, and not only just, the issues that we're having with each other.
Well, when you do have this conversation, speak from your heart, and let's look at what's true and what's real, right? You're there for patient care. You're there to be in the moment with everybody that you're serving, right? So when they load you down with all these extra demands, when you're happy to pick up the slack for other people, it's taking your attention away from what you're needing to do, from giving that good care. So no supervisor, no boss is going to argue with the fact that something is affecting your ability to do your work well. Do you see what I'm saying? But the only way that you can change what's going on right now is to step up, speak up, and tell them what's going on. It isn't that you're lazy. It isn't that you aren't happy to do it. But these people that you serve, they need you, and they deserve all of you. So when somebody else is taking that attention away and you have to cover up for everybody else or do the job of 2 people, then the person who's actually losing is the patient. Right?
Right.
And so when you go to your boss and you tell them that you're not so concerned about your stresses, but it could affect the patient, nobody's going to argue with that. And then what you want to do is you want to say to them, listen, I'm not here to cut it off cold turkey, but let's phase it out. Maybe we could hire somebody new. Maybe we could rearrange the order of how things are delegated and just kind of work with them to say, hey, over the next 3 weeks, let's try to get these things ironed out. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Absolutely. And just know that you're a leader. The fact that you're even asking this question, you're going to get it done. There's a new sheriff in town, and things are going to get shaped up. They're going to work out. All right?
Right. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you for calling in. So,
you have a great day.
Thank you. So another great question, like, what do we do when we feel like we're being loaded down with work? How do we embrace change? How do we even allow ourselves to personally grow when other people are taking our attention or putting demands on us? As we go through the show today, I really want you to think about what change is occurring in your life. Where are you struggling with that change? What resources do you need to make that a smoother transition? Hopefully you get insights and lessons that will guide you into finding the right answers, getting those resources to help you with that change. If not, reach out to us here at Living Full Out. That's what we're here for. You can always go to our website for resources or call us at 310-909-7800. We're here for you. Now we're going to come back in our next segment with our inspirational guest, Lydia Joyner. You don't want to miss it. And this is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm gonna return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. A professional motivational speaker, Nancy can help you overcome obstacles and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about change, how we can go after change in our life, not being scared or intimidated, but excited, if that's even possible. Or how we can look at change not to hold us back and make us feel as though it's a burden in our life, but an opportunity, the positive side to change. Now, our next guest, Lydia Joyner, she's our inspirational guest for today, is going to share with us her story as being a child in the foster system. Believe it or not, she was in 35 different homes. She had 18 different social workers. She lived it day in, day out, and is a perfect example today of what it means to live full out, despite going through a lot of change as a child. So I very much like to welcome Lydia to the show.
Hi, thank you so much, Nancy.
Hi. And I mean every word, girl. You are a living full out person. We're going to get to that later on because she is a firecracker, okay? But let's take our audience back, okay? You grew up with your mom, and she obviously, had some of her own challenges. Can you share with us what it was like growing up?
Sure. I grew up in Cocoa, Florida, which is a beautiful part of Brevard County, and my mom and I grew up in a part of the town where, lots of drugs, prostitutes, was all around us. It was our culture and environment. We were very poor, living in a trailer, and my mom had been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia when I was born. And so from the time that I was born until I was about 7, my mom just became deeper in drugs, had to prostitute more, was getting in and out of jail. And within that time, a lot of abuse happened within the home. And it took a lot for them to actually take me away when they did. But by the time I was 7, they, came in, Baker acted my mother, and then they took me, and I didn't see her again for the next 4 months. That's how long it actually took. So it was really shocking to be taken out in the middle of the day and put into a place where you don't know. It's the rudest awakening of your life, pretty much.
Well, and I'm just curious, Lydia, because obviously everyone grows up differently. Some people have 2 parents, 1 parent, they live with their grandparents. Some people are in abusive environments. Some people are in loving environments. It's just, we're all different. And your mom loved you very much. It was just...
Oh, so much.
It was just
She
the
loved me
environment.
so much.
Exactly. And how, you said that there was a lot that had gone on in the 7 years, abuse and being around the wrong people and all that. When you look back on it now, are you surprised it took that long?
Now that I know the system and how it works, is you have to have so many people call in to report the abuse. And, in the culture and environment we're at, when we were, back in those days, it was almost like everybody was being treated the same way. So it really did take a long time for that to happen. And my mom grew up in an abusive environment herself, and I really felt like, she didn't know how any other way to be. It was her way of, kind of recycling the traits of her own trauma.
Well, I'm sure many parents wish they were given a manual with that baby.
I know.
Okay, what do I do? How do I do this? Right? Your mom didn't get the manual. A lot of parents don't get the manual.
No,
well,
didn't.
And you did go out of 35 different homes, and you had 18 different social workers. And how does that happen? How does someone so lovely as yourself, who wants a home, because I know there's parents out there who want children, they can't have their own for one reason or another, and they desperately want a baby or they want a child.
Every foster home that I went in or out of, or was in the system or out of the system, there's so many people involved in my life. And so the paperwork that translates from the social worker, the doctor, the lawyer, the guardian ad litem, the teacher, the neighborhood, I mean, everywhere that you're going, you have a file that's being split between so many different people. And over time, even though a foster parent may love you or want to adopt you, or even a social worker trying to get you back into a family member's home, it doesn't always necessarily work out, and there's so many reasons why. It could be, I acted out a lot when I was little, and that would scare people that would love me because they weren't taught necessarily how to deal with me. So I think it goes a lot with community coming together and being educated about, each individual child. And when you have so many people involved in one child's life, it's really hard to keep everybody together.
Well, and can I ask you a question? And I know it seems like a sensitive one, but it's interesting. You're not the first that I've heard that has been in the foster system where they've acted out. And I'm wondering, is that because you were frustrated, you were just annoyed with the changes and in and out of homes? Is it, in some cases, it might be because someone doesn't want to go back to a home and they act out just to not go back.
Yeah.
Why did you act out?
I mean, there's so... sorry. Why did I act out is what you were asking?
Yeah, so why did you act out?
Well, I can give an example, a perfect example. When my mom died, she committed suicide when I was 10, turning 11. And I had a music teacher that I loved. She taught me to play the viola by the time I was in the 3rd grade, turning into 4th. We really developed a very close relationship. But the moment that they told me that she was taking the classes to adopt me, I had felt like she was replacing my mom, and I never wanted that. No matter what my environment or culture was, I always wanted to be back with my mom. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand what death was at that moment, that she wasn't coming back, so I kept thinking that she was just going to come. And I turned my music teacher's an entire classroom upside down. Flipped chairs, violins smashed into the wall, just because I was so scared that I was going to be put somewhere that I didn't want to be, because I had a concept as a 10-year-old child of where I was going to be. And the older I got, the more independence I wanted, and I didn't have a family structure at that point because I'd been in so many homes, that when it got to the point where people were telling me that I had a new rule system or a new religion that they were in the home, I just was trying to hold my bearing on who I was. I was trying to find my feet. And so the stronger my voice got, the older I got as a teenager, the worse my behavior got, because I couldn't follow the rules of the home. I just had no respect for it at that time. I just got too old in the system.
You know what?
For me, anyway.
And when you say that, I feel that. I mean, I didn't even live it, and I feel it, and I can see why you acted out and why you were frustrated, and why children do that today. In fact, we're going to go to a commercial break here shortly, and I'm going to want to make sure to come back, to the different changes. You even had name changes. I mean, you really embraced change in an amazing way, and you handled it, even though you acted out. I feel you handled it with a lot of grace, and I want to kind of come back to this after the commercial break. Okay, so stay with us, and everybody. This is Lydia Joyner. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a trusted life coach, Nancy will help you overcome setbacks and embrace all life has to offer. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And we're joined today talking about change in our life, and we're talking right now to Lydia Joyner. She's our inspirational guest. And she's talking to us about her journey being in the foster system as a child. And I'd like to pick up, Lydia, on your original name was Michelle. Can you share with us about that?
Sure, yes. My mom always said that everything that was good in her life was like Eden. So it was Michelle Eden Brown. And I was that name until I was 15 years old. My last name changed twice before then. At 15, I had failed 3 adoptions and was at my 4th one. The 4th one, they completely changed my first and last name to Lydia McClure is what it was then. And so at the time, I was actually living between my stepfather's house and my adoptive house. So I went into a huge identity crisis in between all of this. And so I basically ran away from my last adopted home, and that, led me into living my car, in between people's houses while I was going to high school. And I was captain of the cheerleading team and theater and photography and doing all of these things that all the kids were doing. But nobody knew that I was Michelle before or that Lydia was my new name. So it was definitely probably the hardest time of my life. It put me through an eating disorder and, really trying to find out who I was. And eventually, once I graduated high school, though, I found my feet. I found who I was, and I started working in TV and film right out of high school. And even today, right now, in between this cut, I'm on a film shoot. So
wow.
I'm Lydia now, and I love that I got the chance to go through all the mistakes to find out who I was. It's almost like getting my name at, that age gave me the chance to become who I was supposed to be that I never got the chance to do when I was younger.
Now, do you feel more Lydia or do you feel more Michelle, or are they just really like almost two different people?
Oh, they are definitely two different people. The Michelle that I was a little girl that had no power, no control, and was acting out to get attention, and the attention was, not looked at in appropriate ways. So it would get me therapists and misdiagnosed and on pills as a young child. So now as Lydia, my feet stand still on the ground, and I can run and I can jump and I can climb trees and do anything I want to do. And I really claim my name because I was actually given the opportunity to pick my name, which really I think helps, because if I was named something that somebody else had given me, I don't think I would have gotten the opportunity. But actually being able to pick my name gave that chance to me.
I love that.
Really.
And see, you were embracing change in a positive way. I love that. Now, I'm curious because, again, you lived this experience. There's something that I don't know that a lot of people know. When you were, kind of coming out of the foster system due to the age that you were, you typically, some children will get, free education, certain perks or I'm not sure what you would call them, but, having been part of the foster system, at a later age, but you didn't get that. Can you explain to us why?
Yes, that's actually a pivotal point in my life now. It is affecting my life now because when you are starting to age out in the foster care system, you're supposed to go through independent living, learning skills on how to live. And if you are an orphan in the foster care system, college is free. Because my last failed adoption did not report me as a runaway or that I was not living with them anymore, they continued to collect my Social Security money, which in the educational system, I was declared basically an illegal orphan. So still to this day, I can't go to college for free. So I tried to go, and I got a really bad loan, and so I had to start paying the loan, and then I had to drop out of school. So I missed the opportunity of college education because of that.
Well, I'm just curious, Lydia, what could have you done differently, or was it just the fact that you ran away, or what could have been done differently to allow you to get that?
I honestly don't know if I can answer that truthfully for you, because I've been trying for years of fighting the education system and foster care system. There's a big divide on it because it's a piece of paper that says I'm either an orphan or I'm not. And because my last adoption never turned me in and I finished college or high school on my own, there was no documentation of me, being in that position. So really, honestly, I think the only thing I could have done was call foster care and say, I'm no longer in my adoptive home, but I didn't want to do that because I never wanted to go back into foster care.
Which makes
That's the only
sense.
thing I could think of.
Yeah. Again, courage is another word when I think of you. I mean, you courageously went through your childhood into your adult years, embracing this change, doing what you had to do, and in some cases to survive. I mean, it's really amazing, and I am proud of you. Proud is another word for you that I want to say, because, for all of us who haven't had that experience, I mean, it's just amazing that you are who you are today. And I want to talk about that because you're confident, you're independent, you're an author, you're living life full out, despite having come from a past that was, in some ways abusive, lonely, abandonment, changes, you name it. You went on to survive and thrive. Why do you think you were able to make it?
Well, we all have that inner feeling of I always call it my inner will, my fire, that blaze. I've had it since I was born. I came out kicking and screaming, wanting to make change, and I never really thought it was fair to not be able to express yourself or be who you were. And I had a very solid inner feeling of who I was, and the more I was able to express myself and accomplish the things that I wanted to do, the stronger I got and the more I knew I could do it. And that was my main reasoning. I have so much I want to do. Like, I see the positive side of life more than I do the negative. Mm-hmm. And I know that we all live and die. So every day I think this could be my last, not in a morbid way, but honestly saying we have life, and if we're not living it fully out loud, as you say, then what's the purpose?
And that is why I say early on today in the interview that you are a perfect example of living full out. I mean, honestly, you just take life on like like it's your last bite of the apple, and you're going to bite that apple.
That's it.
I love it. I love it. Now,
That's right.
Now, there are families out there who want to adopt, who want a child, baby, 10-year-old, teenager, you name it. But again, as you stated so, detailed earlier, that, it's just a lot of moving parts. What can somebody who wants to adopt through the foster system do? What should they know that they may not know getting into it?
Well, first of all, I would say education through the social worker that they're talking to is a huge part of them taking parenting classes. The biggest part to me that I can say personally is that when we are adopted out of the foster care system, we have files. I had 6 banker boxes of files, and they say a lot about your behavior and who you are. And so this family gets this idea of who they're getting. And so when the behavior starts coming out and it's not so perfect right after the adoption and happy of, you coming together as a family, I think it's quite shocking. Younger, it's not as much, but for the little bit older adoptions, it's a little bit shocking to get a 9 or 10-year-old child that is so happy in the home for the first couple of weeks, but then all of a sudden their, nightmares or traumas or triggers will hit them. And it could be just being in a parking lot and the sound of a horn going off could remind them of something, and they could spit on you out of nowhere. And I don't think that the adoption families get enough education. And I think that community support, and for them to realize to take it day by day and know that the child, just no matter how they're acting out, there's a reason for it, and it's not little boy cried wolf, because we don't lie or act out unless there's a reason. I think it's about finding out why that child is acting out and giving them the space for it. I think that there's tons of kids that if they're given the space and time to be loved and feel secure in a home, the behavior starts to dial down and they become more comfortable, and then it can be a beautiful transition. I think it's just time and love and patience.
Well,
understanding.
And great advice, honestly, coming from someone who was on the other side. Just love me, be patient with me, let me know I'm safe, right?
Exactly.
As we kind of round out the interview today, I just want to kind of shine the light on the fact that for as many things are not working in the foster system, and there's a lot, there's things that need to change within that. Was there any silver lining throughout the whole time that you learned that shaped you?
Absolutely. The silver lining for me, honestly, all through foster care is no matter how many people you want to say that I was with or how many social workers I was with, there's always somebody along the line that does something. It's a pivotal moment. There could be one word that can destroy your day, or one act of kindness that could last a lifetime or that day. And I always had somebody that did something. I had a guardian ad litem that gave me my first Halloween party to be the Wicked Witch of the West. And so I was able to be green and mean and be a child and be normal. And it was that act of allowing me to be a child. Or the first time I was given a diary, I did not write it into it until the 1-year anniversary of my mother's death. But that ability to express how I was feeling changed my life, because that's how I got to where I am today with my writing, and I have all those diaries from that. So I would say that my advice would be is or what the silver lining is that the random act of kindness or those moments of people who do care, they do actually stick with you just as much or not more as the negative ones. And I really, truly hold on to those moments because they inspire me to do the same for others.
You know what? Well said. And that's a perfect note to end on. And thank you so much, Lydia, for being on our show today.
Thank you.
You just have a great day. And thank you so much. And everybody, when we come back, we're going to be taking your calls. And so we look forward to talking to you on the air. Again, this is the Living Full Out Show, and that was Lydia Joyner, inspirational guest for today. We'll be right back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're gonna jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say, we want you.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
When change comes your way, don't be afraid of it. Don't be intimidated by it, because it's something that could take you to a place that is unexpected, that is exciting. When change is on your heart and it's heavy and it's keeping you up at night and you're nervous, always remember that change is on your terms. You have the ability to steer your life in the direction you want. When you live full out in life and you embrace change, it's not that the change is controlling you, but rather you get to dictate the terms. Live full out every day.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a certified life coach, Nancy can help you to overcome challenges and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Okay, here we are again at the final segment of the show. It goes so fast, I can't believe it. But again, we're talking about change today. And I hope that you were inspired by our last guest, Lydia Joyner, because I was. In fact, I think I'm going to look at the foster system completely differently now and want to do more and really be of support to those folks who are going through it, the parents and the children. And I want you to look in your life today. Where are you going through changes, ones that are stressing you out? In fact, we have a caller on the line. He's going to share with us about a change that's occurring in their life. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for calling. What can we help you with today?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just having a friend issue that I hope I could talk to you about.
Yes.
So one of my friends just has like this very off and on unhealthy relationship with her boyfriend, and I want to support her, but I think that a lot of the issues are kind of her fault. So I guess I was just wondering if you have any advice on how I can approach this problem with her or talk to her without attacking her and her actions.
This is a tough one, but believe it or not, there is a workaround here. So you have to really break it down and really be simple with it. So nobody wants to be attacked, right? Nobody wants to be told what to do. So you can't go at it in that approach. You almost have to go at it in a coaching therapeutic way. Okay. So let's say they have an argument, right? And she's complaining about him. You know, you want to kind of say to her, well, let's really look at the situation. So what were you doing at the time of the argument? What was he doing at the time of the argument?
Yeah.
What was the argument about? Okay, what did he say and what did you say? Okay, what did you hear him say? Did he hear you really say what you said? Now, that last languaging is the thing I want you to really work on with her. What did you hear him say? Because what she thought he might have meant might not be the same as what she heard. I mean, it's a little confusing because when somebody is in the frenzy of an argument or they're in the place of blame, and then they turn to you, their girlfriend, their sounding board, right? They want you to jump on the ship with them, be like, oh yeah, he's the worst, right? But you don't feel that way. You feel like it's her. I get it. So you need to show her, break down the conversation. And if you do that, and when you get to the point in the conversation where it should be blaringly clear that it was her fault, you then need to ask her, so let me ask you, he probably did something that was not great and maybe said something that was not right or his actions were not on point, but what did you do? And what could you have done differently? So it's less about him, it's always less about the other person, and it's what could she have done differently? And then as her friend, you want to say, I love you. Like, I welcome you and appreciate you, whoever you are, whatever bad day or good day you're having. But, the quest of life is that we evolve to be the best version of ourselves we can be, right? That's my goal. That's your goal. And so you need to remind her that wherever this relationship may or may not go, when an argument comes up, she has the opportunity to evolve. To kind of analyze her own actions. And so it's less about you telling her she's wrong, and it's more about you being on the path of discovery with her. Do you get that?
Okay. Yes, I understand that. Yeah, and just her talking about more her interpretation. Does that make sense?
Exactly. So it's not pointing a finger. It's not saying you should have done this, you could have done that. The woulda, coulda, shouldas are no good. And it's more about, let's really look at what happened. And you know what? We can't control his actions. We can't control what he says. But let's look at what you could have done differently. And that's going to be, you're going to be a much better friend to her, helping her through that transition, through that change, her own personal development, than if you try to point out to her or tell her what she did wrong.
Right. I think it would, that would be a way better way to approach the situation.
Well, there you go. So the next time this should come up, just tell her to lay down on the couch. You're with Dr. So-and-so. No, I'm kidding. But, seriously, you can walk her through it as a friend, but that's a huge gift if you can slow her down in her mind, stop the racing of all the woulda, coulda, shouldas and the frenzy of the argument, and help her really identify with how she could have done something differently. Okay?
Right. That sounds great. Thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome, and just have a wonderful day, and thank you for calling in. So many of our callers today have asked great questions. We're all about navigating this world. Just how do we move? How do we say the right thing? It's almost like sometimes we go through life with landmines all over the place, right? We don't want to make a mistake. We don't want to fail. We don't want to push people away. And when you live a life like that, you're walking on eggshells. You're worried. And you should never be worried. We were given this breath of life to go through life with changes. Nothing will ever stay the same. It's just something we all have to accept. And when you do accept that, now you're able to look at change not with such a annoying or frustrating or worried demeanor, but now you're able to go, yeah, I can do this. So that is what our message of today's show is. It's all about going after change, not running away from it. I want to thank everybody on our Living Full Out team. We have Carrie and Mindy and Rich and everybody who puts a show on to motivate you. I want to thank you for listening. And again, if you want to hear this show again, go to livingfullout.com, click on the radio show tab, and you can hear this episode and all of our episodes again. I really wish you all a great day. We look forward to seeing you next week. Here's to you living your life full out.